Please subscribe my channel. I was in the middle of a business trip when my phone buzzed on the hotel desk. Motion detected. Living room. I opened the security camera app, thinking it was just a glitch. Instead, I saw my parents in my house, measuring walls, shifting furniture, and behaving like they owned the place. Then I heard my mom chuckle and say, "Once everything is moved in, she won't cause a fuss." My heart sank. They weren't just visiting. They were taking over my life while I was away. I didn't yell. I didn't call anyone. I shut the app, smiled to myself, and made one choice that would change what they found when they got there. And no one saw the ending coming. My name is Emily, and for most of my grown-up years, I've been the reliable one in my family. I have a good job in a professional field that lets me live comfortably, travel for work, and own my own house in Portland. I never relied on anyone else to create that life. I built it quietly, carefully, and mostly on my own in a family that treated me like a handy backup. My parents always claimed they were proud of me, but their focus was never truly on me. It centered on my younger brother. He was the dreamer, the one who took chances, the one who just needed a bit more time. And that time was always funded by someone else, usually me. At first, it seemed harmless. A few payments here, helping with bills there, emergency help that was supposed to be short-term, just this one time. I told myself it was what family does. I told myself being kind didn't make me a pushover. And whenever I paused, my parents reminded me how fortunate I was to be successful, how much tougher things were for him. So I stayed quiet. I kept my limits flexible. I picked up late-night calls. I sent money without too many questions. I convinced myself that avoiding conflict was the same as being cared for. My house was the one thing that truly felt like mine. I bought it by myself in a peaceful neighborhood in Portland and made it a spot where I could relax. There was one room I loved most, a space I'd put so much effort into, something personal that kept me steady after long work trips. It wasn't fancy or showy to others, but it was mine. That's why seeing my parents stroll through it like they were in charge, not visitors, felt so wrong. As I sat in that hotel room watching the video again and again, things started to make sense. Their easy confidence, the surety in my mom's words, the way they moved around my home without a second thought. This wasn't a mix-up. This wasn't a favor they forgot to mention. This was a choice they'd made because for years, I'd shown them I'd go along with it. I didn't switch off the camera. I sat on the hotel bed and played the video once more, this time with the volume up. I had to be certain I wasn't imagining things out of fear. I needed to hear it plainly. My parents were in my living room, chatting as if I didn't matter. My dad pointed down the hallway, talking about what could be shifted. My mom nodded, already planning changes to my life in her mind. They used that calm, matter-of-fact tone people have when they think they're right. Then my mom said it. Once everything is here, she won't cause a fuss. She'll just go along with it. She didn't sound mad or ashamed. She sounded sure. Those words hit harder than anything I saw. Harder than strangers handling my belongings. Harder than the thought of my brother moving into my house without my okay. Because right then, I saw this wasn't sudden or out of need. It was a habit. They weren't concerned about my feelings. They were betting on how I'd always acted. I replayed it, hoping I'd heard wrong. I hadn't. My mom even laughed softly after, like it was a private joke, as if my quiet nature was something they could count on. And she was correct about the past. I remembered all the times I stayed silent, when money I'd sent got used for something else entirely, when plans were made using my time, money, or space without checking with me, when I was told it was simpler if I just agreed, and I did. I'd mixed up staying calm with being valued. I'd mixed up giving with being loved. Alone in that room, I finally saw the price of that error. This wasn't about my brother needing aid. This was about my parents seeing my life as something they could use. My achievements meant they had access. My home was like an add-on to theirs. My limits were optional, not firm. What hurt most was how sure they were that I wouldn't push back. Something changed inside me then, not panic or sadness, but something sharper and clearer. For years, I tried hard to be fair, understanding, the daughter who smoothed things for others, and it only made me the quiet safety net. I closed my eyes and let the anger in, not wild or noisy, but steady, the type that plans and waits. They figured they knew me because I'd never resisted. They thought I'd accept it like always. That was their error. For the first time, I wasn't focused on keeping things calm. I was focused on getting my control back, and on when they'd see they'd misjudged me. I didn't phone them. I didn't confront right away. That even surprised me. The old me would have hurried to explain, argue, or plead for them to wait until I returned. But something broke open in that hotel room, and I saw clearly. Arguing wouldn't halt them. It would just teach them to be sneakier. So I kept quiet and got to work. On the flight home, I paid for Wi-Fi and opened my laptop. I made one folder with a plain name. In it, I gathered old records, payments, bills, transfers that were always called short-term help or emergencies that never stopped. Seeing them all together was eye-opening. One alone seemed fine. So did the next. But as a whole, they showed years of steady taking based on the idea that I'd never refuse. That's when I realized this wasn't kindness anymore. It was them feeling entitled, and I'd help make it normal. I also knew my brother didn't do things subtly. If he was set to move in, it'd be obvious. He'd want others to notice, praise it, think he'd succeeded. Timing was key. I checked his social media. His teasers, hints about big news soon. He craved attention and approval. He wanted the spotlight. I chose to give him that moment. While they rearranged my house, I prepared something they couldn't explain away. I didn't overstate or add feelings, just laid out the facts clearly. For once, I wasn't shielding anyone's emotions, not even mine. I was guarding my limits. By the time the plane landed, my earlier upset had settled into something firm. A plan based on truth and decisions, not shouting or payback. They thought quiet meant agreement. They thought I wouldn't cause a fuss. They were partly right. I wouldn't blow up. I'd let them face the results of what they'd assumed. I didn't pull into my driveway. I parked a few houses away and walked, eyeing my own home like a stranger. Cars filled the street. People I didn't know went in and out the front door like it was open to all. Music boomed inside, loud enough to shake windows. The peaceful house I'd created was now noisy without my say. I paused and felt it all, the intrusion, the rage, the shock. Then I went in. The living room looked nothing like mine. Furniture shoved aside, lights rigged up, a backdrop on the wall. Strangers lounged, chatting and drinking, acting like this was fine, like it was deserved. My mom was in the middle, directing with excitement she rarely showed for me. She spotted me and stopped. "What are you doing here?" she snapped. "I thought you were still away." "I came home," I said steadily. "To my house." She sighed like I was the problem. "We're busy with something important. Don't make this about you." Those words confirmed everything. My brother was close by, holding his phone, grinning into it like the world revolved around him. He spoke quickly, full of fake confidence, acting successful. When he saw me, his grin faltered, but he kept going. "Guys," he said to the camera, faking a chuckle. "Look who showed up, my sister, Emily. She's fine with this. No worries." I moved into frame. "No," I said calmly. "I'm not." The room tensed. People exchanged looks. My brother's smile strained. "Chill," he muttered. "You're killing the mood." "I'm stopping it," I answered. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't debate. I took the folder from my bag. "For everyone here," I said, glancing around. "This is my home. I own it. Nobody got my permission for this today." My brother rolled his eyes. "You don't need to do this in front of people." "I do," I replied. "Because you planned it for an audience." I faced him. "You don't live here. You were never asked to move in. And the success you're showing off? It came from years of my help that you never paid back." My dad stepped up, face flushed. "This is family business. You're shaming us." "No," I said. "I'm ending it." I opened the folder and set it on a table. These are records, payments, bills, support I gave for years because it was supposed to be temporary. It wasn't. My brother tried to brush it off, but he kept eyeing the folder. "This is crazy," my mom said harshly. "After all we've done for you." "You were in my house without permission," I cut in. Measuring walls, shifting my stuff, planning my life while I was gone. Her mouth opened, then shut. I turned to my brother. You wanted everyone to see the truth. Here it is. He moved closer. Turn that off, he whispered, nodding at the phone. You're going too far. I'm not the one who did, I said. You are. Then someone else entered. She didn't shout or seem upset, just finished. She held an envelope. I think this fits here, she said, walking in. My brother turned white. Why are you here? She ignored him and looked at me. You need to see this. She opened it and took out documents, official, straightforward. This, she said, is a contract for a car you said was all yours. But the responsible name isn't yours. She showed my parents. It's Emily's. The room hushed. I took the papers. I didn't read every word. The forged signature was clear. You used my name, I said softly, without telling me. My brother freaked. It was temporary. I was fixing it. You didn't ask, I said. You just assumed. She continued, addressing my parents. There's more. I looked into it. Accounts opened in your names, bills you didn't know, debts you didn't agree to. My mom shook her head. That's impossible. It happened, she said kindly, and it's hitting your credit now. My dad's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then at my brother like seeing him anew. You did this, he murmured. My brother stepped back, denying it. I was going to fix everything. That's when it all fell apart, not from my outburst, but because the facts had no escape. I breathed deep and spoke clearly. This stops today. Everyone who doesn't live here, leave. My mom hurried over. You can't. We're family. You stopped acting like family when you decided I'd just take it, I said. She grabbed my arm. You're ruining us. I pulled free gently. No, I'm keeping this from ruining me. I took out my phone. I'm asking nicely, go. If not, I'll call the proper help. People left fast and quietly. The room emptied. My brother stood still, staring down. This didn't need to happen, he said. It did, I replied, because it already did without me. Once alone, the quiet felt strange, but real. Lights still on, backdrop up, but the fake show was over. I looked at my parents last. You raised me to be fair and keep peace. Today I chose me. I didn't wait for replies. For the first time, the house felt truly mine. It didn't feel empty after they went. It felt peaceful, like no demands, no unwanted steps, no waiting stress. My parents didn't return that night or next. When they contacted me later, it wasn't to say sorry. It was to explain, defend, say I'd overreacted, that family issues stay private. But what they did wasn't private to me. My brother vanished from sight quickly. The boldness, the show, all faded. Without support or viewers, it crumbled. For my parents, the fallout they'd expected me to handle hit them instead. I didn't jump in to cushion it, and I felt no guilt. I went room to room, fixing things my way, straightening, tidying, taking back what was mine. Nothing looked different physically. Walls stood, house fine. But inside, everything shifted for the better. I'd stopped bargaining my value, and the quiet now felt like true calm. For years, I thought family meant putting up with things, that staying silent would improve it. I was mistaken. Family needs respect, not demands or quiet suffering. Stepping away wasn't mean. It was protecting myself. My home is peaceful now, and so am I. If someone's ever ignored your limits just because they're family and expected you to deal, share this. You're not alone. And if it hit home, subscribe for more like it.